40% of a sale is your market or your responsive list. For another 40% is your product or service, the thing that you're selling. And 20% is other stuff like the copy. And that highlights a very important subject. Your copy is simply can't generate sales alone. You can't create sales from copy alone unless you're very lucky. But you can magnify sales.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. It's Rick Nuske here. I do have probably the best role in the world as far as I'm concerned, because I speak with some incredible people with some great marketing skills, great copywriting skills, just great business ethic. And on today's call, I'm with Asmund Ryningen. How are you, Asmund?
Thank you. I'm very good.
Yes, it's wonderful to have you here with me today. I've looked at your sales page and it really struck me because I found myself reading it from start to finish. Now, that doesn't happen with me often.
Well, thank you so much. And by the way, thank you so much for having me on your podcast, by the way.
Oh, look, it's an absolute pleasure. And I love to deliver as much value as I can for the guest as well as our audience, for which without both, this show wouldn't be what it is today. So thank you again. Now, today we're going to be, I guess, disassembling the art of copywriting and breaking it down into some individual parts, because there's some misunderstanding about sales copy and the art of copy. And I'd love for you to, I guess, first start off by sharing a little bit about yourself with the My Future Business audience.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I'm a copywriter in the predominantly in the health supplement niche. I'm actually making a transition right now because I used to write much for the financial niche, financial investments and so on. I've also written a little bit for the self-help niche, kind of like the success story, the success porn guys. And I've also done some freelancing on content mill sites like those. There are lots of content mill sites out there. So I'm actually making a transition now from being on those content mill sites to kind of like looking for those big name clients. And I'm also all over looking to write more, more serious copy, so to speak. Yeah. Like I said, I'm in the health supplement niche, and that's a big market, by the way.
Of course.
So yeah. It is. And, that actually is very interesting to the topic that you brought up, because there are so many people who write a copy for health supplements and for people who suffer from diseases and so on. And they assume that they know, but they really don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, it's like if I want to sell you a chair and I assume that, hey, buy that chair that I'm selling you. I mean, then I'm just assuming that you want a chair in the first place. But I don't know. I haven't even asked you if you're looking for a chair in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yes, there's no need being established.
No, it's not. And one of the most important principles of copy is actually to get to know your audience, to talk to your audience. Mm-hmm. So just if I go, hey, Rick, are you currently looking for a chair? You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe, right? I mean, I'm just asking you that question to even gauge if there's any interest at all.
Yes.
Because if you're not looking for a chair in the first place, then why in the world would I waste my time writing copy for you, or even trying to sell you the chair?
Yes.
As opposed to, if you really were looking for a chair. If you'd been browsing all sorts of, furniture stores and, you actively were looking for a chair, then I could have kind of like started to not pitch you, but ask you questions based on what sort of chair you were looking for and what you liked about your previous chair and so on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a totally different setting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a completely different mindset. I wonder,
Yeah.
is it not being a copywriter, or at least a good one myself, I wonder, is it valid to talk about features and benefits or provide a story? Which way is
Oh,
better?
both.
Both?
Oh, actually, yeah. Um, First and foremost, stories sell no matter what. I mean, I'm sure you know that yourself. If you tell a story to someone about, I don't know, about anything and about a problem that they had to overcome, of course, that sticks way much better inside that person's head than if you just picture them on features and benefits. But here's a little thing that so many people don't realize yet. If you're writing copy for B2B markets. Like
Yep.
for example, if you're a chemical engineer and you're looking for some sort of lab equipment, some sort of pipe or tube or glass or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't care so much about that story, do you? I mean,
No,
you
no.
no, you care about metrics, right?
Yep.
You care about can that tube hold so and so many milliliters of such and such liquid? Can that tube, I don't know, sustain so and so much pressure? I
Yep.
mean, that's the time to use features and benefits. But for sure, I mean, what you said there is great. You need a story because stories sell, and you remember a story way much better
Oh, yeah.
than if you just than if you just list the features and benefits. For sure.
I wonder, there are obviously so many books on copywriting. What have you learned in your experience about the different types of rules that you apply when you're writing copy for someone?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I wish I had a
A
a
couple,
simple answer for you.
I
So
like to
actually,
give you the tough ones.
yeah, good, good, good. So what I've found in my experience is that the market actually determines what kind of copy you're supposed to write. And I've actually found the majority of my copy, so to speak, from reading closed Facebook groups. I mean, in closed Facebook groups, people are having their full names there. They can't use, or most people don't have usernames. They have their full legal names, but they're in
Yes.
closed Facebook groups. Yeah, so that their friends and family and potential employers can't see what they write. And that's when they throw out all their mental garbage. They lash out and and I actually found that to be the most valuable spot for writing copy or for finding valuable information to write copy about. And also Amazon reviews.
Right.
Reviews on Amazon. Yeah, because people are honest. I mean, if you buy something and you're satisfied with it, then of course you want to leave behind a good review. And if you're not satisfied with the product or service that you bought, then you leave behind a bad review.
Yeah.
And people are honest. People, they lash out. They start telling you all these stories about all these horrors that they have. But regarding books, I've actually found that if you just read 2 or 3 or 4 basic books on copywriting, then that's pretty much enough to get you started.
Yep.
Yes, such as in my case, I started reading. I don't know. Are you familiar with any copywriting books
Dan
yourself?
Kennedy, his stuff is pretty good.
Yeah.
I probably got about 20 of his books.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. I'm a
And
big
Kennedy's
reader, so I'm looking at your bio here, and one of the things that stuck out for me is whether or not you should be grammatically correct or give your English teacher a heart attack. That really stuck out for me. That was great copy in its own right.
Yeah.
Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, if you're writing copy, if you're writing to appeal to an audience, then do you expect that audience to read like the copy was written in a school book? I mean, do you really expect the audience to plow through lots and lots of complicated
No,
sentences? And no, you don't.
no.
You want to make it easy to read, right?
Yep.
So you break up the copy. You write these little paragraphs. You write bullets. Bullets are very powerful because they're so visible and they're so easy to spot. And you don't, basically you're not trying to write a book. You're just trying to write copy. You're just trying to write a simple piece of text that's easy and appealing to read and that flows well. and that means you actually have to break grammatical rules.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the sort of stuff that probably your English teacher, I don't know, he would have given you an F or an E at the very best.
I've always wondered, Osmond, where the name
Yeah.
copy came from. It just doesn't make much sense to use the word copy. It's an
No,
interesting reference, isn't it?
yeah, it is. I actually read a little bit about that. Way back in the day, they actually wrote, they didn't have the internet, right? So they
Yep.
had printers, yeah. So they needed to copy the text that they wrote because they were mass producing, that like these posters and so on that they were hanging up on storefront walls and anywhere else. And that's simply developed from that sort of process. Hey, we got to copy this text. We got to copy this text. Oh, we just got to write copy.
Yes.
That's
And that
yeah.
and that kind of explains, this idea of why people, believe that they can be copywriters today, doesn't it? In many
Yeah,
respects.
yeah, it really does. I mean, because you're writing stuff that is supposed to be copied, and that, if you're writing an email, let's say that you're an email writer and you yourself have an email list, right?
Yep.
So yeah, right. So when you write copy, you actually write text that is supposed to be copied multiple times and is potentially read by thousands of readers. So that's kind of like a copy in itself.
Yep.
And also, yeah, and also everyone has pretty much a smartphone or a tablet or at least a computer now these days. So
Hmm.
people read your words anywhere in the world. So that is sort of a copy in itself. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, you're copying your words worldwide, but it
Yes.
started out just yeah, but it started out just copying out your words locally in your town or in your city, wherever you were based at that time.
I'd love to know a little bit about a couple of things. Where did this journey of becoming a professional copywriter slash marketer start for you?
Yeah. So I was so fed up with the old stuff that I was doing. Um, I was a civil engineer. I graduated from a university with a degree in civil engineering, but that just wasn't for me. I mean, numbers and stuff. I actually did it just to get a job, but
Yes.
I always had writing in my heart. Just like you guys down in Australia and over in the US, just like you have English, we have Norwegian in
Yes.
Norway.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I love Norwegian. I love to write. I love to write short stories. I love to write all sorts of stuff. And, I just started writing on my own. I started writing short little novels on my own, first in Norwegian, then I actually transcended into English.
Yep.
And then I found out about some stuff called, what's this copywriting? I mean, do people, yeah, do people actually get paid to write,
Words.
ads?
Yeah.
Yeah, words that make you buy. I mean, is that a thing? Oh my God.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
yeah, it is. And it's quite big. I mean, sadly, it's not so big in Norway. There's lots of digital marketing going on, but copywriting isn't so big in Norway. It's way bigger in the US, and I'm pretty sure down in Australia as well.
Yes.
As you perhaps are guessing, I'm not too familiar with the Australian market, but I'm assuming that there are loads and loads of copywriting opportunities down there as well.
Yeah, well, the internet opens up a vast number of opportunities for everyone, I believe.
Yeah, it really does. So that's what opened up the doors for me. I mean, I just loved writing, and I just loved telling a story, making people feel good. I mean,
Yeah.
just getting in the meaning of
Can you?
making them feel good.
I'd love to, if I could, ask you about one example of a copywriting, a piece of copy that you've written for someone that made you personally very excited about. Could you share a story with us?
Yeah. So this is actually very interesting. This was a guy from I think he was from Sydney in Australia.
Interestingly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, interesting. He was running some sort of a carpet business. It was actually renting, or he had a business where he hired out carpenters to other big contractors,
Uh-huh.
and he was so fed up with the fact that these big contractors they didn't fully understand the way that that the construction business worked.
Yep.
Because obviously he was pitching decision makers, right? I mean, those people way up in the system, and they all look at numbers, but they don't look at the very, I don't know, the very things that go on a construction site. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, if equipment breaks, if something happens, if a delivery is failed, if it's a wrong delivery and stuff like that, stuff that pretty much tampers the work process, right?
Yep.
And so I actually got to, because I actually have a construction background myself, so I could relate to that. And that was kind of like just to write the stuff that I'd gone through in my childhood and in my youth. And yeah, it was pretty much like I wrote about a day when I was working in construction myself.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I related very much to that. And you know that the guy was so satisfied because it was just like that. And that was exactly the problem. Those people at the top, they didn't understand the way that the work was carried out on a
Actually
construction
done.
site.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual stuff. I mean, it's more than just a hammer and a nail, you know. It's the equipment, it's the stuff. Maybe the concrete fails. Maybe there are some steel bars that shouldn't have been there. Maybe it's the wrong type of steel. I mean, stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yeah. No.
They don't understand
No, they
because
don't necessarily care, do they? That high.
no, they don't care. They only care about money, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to finish this thing as quickly as possible because that means more money in the bank for them.
It makes me wonder, do you start talking differently in your copy when you know that there's more than one audience who will probably read it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I wish I could say that, but I don't spend months researching, but I do spend weeks researching.
Yeah.
One of the greatest copywriters ever, I think his name is Gary Bencivenga. Are you familiar with that name?
No, when you said Gary, I was thinking
No.
Gary Halbert.
Gary. Yeah. Gary Halbert was great as well. I'm just talking about someone else named Gary Bencivenga. He would actually research his market for 2 or 3 months alone before even attempting to write a piece of copy.
That's a fair amount of investment, isn't it?
Yeah. But he's universally recognized as the best copywriter ever to live. Now I do research as well. I take notes, and as you say, it's important to research more than one audience. And that actually goes back to what I said in the beginning about the chemical engineer and the pipe.
Yep.
Yeah, because maybe you have to pitch, or maybe you have to write copy for the decision maker to the engineer. And that is why when you want to tell stories about
Yes.
about all sorts of stuff, because the engineer himself, he doesn't care. I mean, if it's brand A or brand B, he doesn't care. I mean, as long as the pipe is strong enough and doesn't break. But the decision maker, maybe he's swayed by someone who once bought a pipe and then it cracked in his hands and he started to bleed and all of that. I mean,
they're real stories, aren't they?
Yeah. They are. So you just gotta research, and that is why it's so difficult to come up with a copy on the spot, because everybody can write something, but you gotta think, and thinking is actually a very big part of copywriting as well. Yeah. This is something that I learned from another big copywriter named Joseph Sugarman. Have you heard about him?
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph Sugarman. He talked about the incubation period, where you write some copy, you write a draft, and then you leave it behind for a day or 2 or 3, and you just think. I mean, maybe you got to change. Well, you always got to change something, right? I mean, the draft looks awful, and then you got to go back and edit it, right? And during that incubation period, you might come up with another idea, or you might come up with another way of twisting and tweaking the copy. I mean, all sorts of stuff can happen during that incubation period. But the thing is, it's so important.
Yeah.
Because and the thing is, you're doing anything but writing copy. I mean, you're going out there, you're playing golf, you're, I don't know, taking a walk, you're swimming, you're, doing anything but writing copy. So that
Yes.
is, yeah.
I wonder, is there an opportunity to test I guess, the validity and the alignment of your copy to a smaller segment of the market that you're targeting before you go and release it? How does that side of it work? How do you know if you got good copy?
Yeah, I mean, you never really know before the client tells you if your copy is good, but you can also test it. I mean, um, I'm not too familiar. I actually gotta be completely honest. I'm not too familiar with the health supplement niche because I'm actually going into that market right now.
Right.
But for a lot of other markets, they you test it on a smaller audience, like a select type of audience. For example, a select part of your email list,
Yep.
or maybe actually the best way to test it would actually be to ask the people around you, such as your staff, the bookkeeper, the secretary, the janitor. I mean, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're asking. I mean, and this assumes, of course, that you're writing copy that quote unquote normal people are supposed to read, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, right. So that's one way of testing it. But overall, I've just got to admit I'm not too much into testing and so on. So that's really not my area of expertise. I just write the the
Yes,
words.
no, absolutely. And you're clearly
Yeah.
very passionate about it. And I think that would translate into some fantastic copy for your clients. Now, you've talked a bit about the rules that you use. Can you share with us what the 40-40-20 rule is about and why it's so important?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I actually live by, I said the 40-40-20 rule. There's actually someone who lived by the 50-30-20 rule as well.
Yep.
Uh, but it is simply that 40% of a sale is your market or your responsive list. For another 40% is your product or service, the thing that you're selling, and 20% is other stuff like the copy.
Right.
And that means, and that highlights a very important subject. Your copy is simply can't generate sales alone. You can't create sales from copy alone unless you're very lucky. But you can magnify sales. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. If you have a product, let's say that you're selling. I don't know. Let's go back to chairs, right?
Good old
So
chairs.
yeah. So let's say that you were selling chairs, and you had one of the best chairs in the world in all of Australia. I mean, people simply loved your chairs. You could pretty much write in so broken English that people hardly could read it. But if they saw a picture of your chair and they saw that your brand was on it, then they knew that, hey, Rick Nuske's chair, we gotta buy that chair, right? So you don't need any copy to sell, but you need copy to magnify sales.
Got it.
And and of course you want to magnify sales. I mean, you do want to sell as much as possible, right?
Yes.
So that is So that is the quote unquote uncomfortable truth that a lot of copywriters have to accept, that hey, my work can't generate sales, but it can magnify sales and also diminish sales. I mean, if the copy is poor, of
Yes.
course. But but at the same time, it's comfort in it as well, because you know that, hey, so at least, well, if I can't generate sales, then it means that I'm not fully responsible for the sales as well, because there are other factors involved.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, if you have a poor product or service, you can have the best product in the world, but people don't want to buy it because it's not good. You know,
Yep. Yep.
if you if you sold chairs that people didn't like, that people started complaining about that, then you could write all the copy in the world. You can have the best copywriter in the world, but he couldn't have saved you. So
Yes. So
uh,
I wonder, Osmond, you just visualize something for me. You visualize this chair as part of my copy. Do you recommend adding images to your copy?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this is actually me talking a little bit contrary to myself because I'm the word guy. But you need the images.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for a thing like chairs and furniture in general. Pretty much, I'd say pretty much every weekday object, every single common item that you have in a household, you need an image for. Like also with, for example, real estate. I've written some real estate copy in my life, not very much, but a little.
Mm-hmm.
And you always need a picture. I mean, if I were trying to sell you a house, then it would take a lot of powerful copy to sway you to purchase that house. And even with all that powerful copy, I assume that there would have been other factors involved, such as, for example, the market. If you were in a hurry and you needed to buy a house in, for example, I don't know, let's say that you were moving to Melbourne.
Yep.
And you needed a house, and housing prices were so high in Melbourne, and you desperately needed a house, and the copy was powerful, but you still would have bought the house predominantly based on the price because you knew that, hey, I gotta buy a house right now.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what it looks like because the market is so hot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but of course, it would have helped if you had pictures. I mean, because you could you could see how the house looked, and so that is why I'm arguing that you need pictures in your copy, and especially for stuff that that relates to your everyday life.
Yep.
But there has actually been some, I think, in the weight loss niche, I've seen ads where there have been no pictures, where the product or service has been related to weight loss, whether it's pills or supplements or something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is a niche where you don't necessarily need a picture, because everybody knows about weight loss.
Yes, and your copy is strong at telling the story, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and the copy is the main thing, and when you're talking about weight loss and health supplements, you're talking directly to the one person who has his or her unique body. Yep. And so I can tell you what your body looks like. You can tell me what my body looks like. I mean, you're an expert in your body. I'm an expert in my body. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
So it's I'd say it's less practical to use images in health supplement copy, but of course, I mean, it always helps. It's actually been scientifically proven to have pictures of a human's face, whether it's the author or whether it's the vendor. I don't really care as long as you have a person's face.
Yes.
Because it helps build trust.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That know, like, and trust you component. Now, I'm wondering, Osmund, if we could just talk a little bit about how video is affecting copywriters today, and how important is video?
Yeah. So for the most part, I'd say that video testimonials are very important. Mm-hmm. If you have testimonials from your clients, from your past clients, then that's very powerful. I'd say webinars. If you can have live webinars and run, talk to potential clients about your services, and give them a little lecture about features, benefits, and advantages, and all of the basic stuff on copywriting. That's very powerful.
Right.
And I also video sales letters, of course. Yes. I mean, there's I'm not a video sales letter guy, so I won't go very much into details on that. But I'm sure that you've seen them as well. Some of them are very powerful.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you just sit there and, oh wow, I gotta buy this, or I want to know more about this.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, exactly. So video is very powerful, but Me personally, I get very bored very quickly, and I also get very impatient very quickly.
Hmm.
So I don't really have me personally, I don't really have the patience to watch through most of the video sales letters that I come across because they're so long. I mean, they're
Yes.
half long, some of them. So,
Yes.
but it all depends. If you're sold on the product to begin with, then of course, then
Well, if they put the message in front of the right target audience, you're good to go.
yeah.
Now, when when people want to work with you, where are they going to find you, and what is the process that you're going to take them through?
Yeah, so if you want to work with me, you can go to genuinecopywriting.com. That's my homepage. That's my landing page. You can send me an email, and from there on, I'll diagnose your problem, so to speak. That is why you won't see any rates at my homepage,
Yep.
because depending on what kind of help you need, depending on what kind of thing that you want me to do for you, then the price,
Is variable.
uh, yeah, it's variable.
Yep.
It depends.
It's one
So
of these calls for everybody who's on the line with us today, that we could deconstruct for months, because this is very expansive. This is not something that we can cover on in a day. Even there
oh
is
no.
years and years of expertise that goes into this process, into this fine art called copywriting. So if you want to reach out to Osmund, certainly go to genuinecopywriting.com. I'll be making the links available back to Osmund. Osmund, it's been a real treat spending some time with you on the show today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much again.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.